Khamzat Chimaev has fired back at former UFC light heavyweight champion Glover Teixeira following some comments Glover made in a recent interview. In the video, Glover discussed Chimaev's attitude and approach to fighting, suggesting that the Chechen-born fighter might be getting too caught up in the fame and attention that come with being one of the most talked-about names in MMA. Teixeira commented that while Khamzat is incredibly talented, he sometimes lets his emotions and ego get the better of him, which could affect his long-term success. Chimaev did not take kindly to those remarks. He quickly responded on social media, taking direct aim at Glover. On X, formerly known as Twitter, Khamzat posted a photo of Alexander Gustafsson knocking out Teixeira, along with the caption, "Glover, Uncle, you need rehabilitation." The post quickly went viral among fans and fighters alike, sparking a heated debate across the MMA community. Some fans saw it as a classic example of Khamzat's fiery personality and trash-talking nature, while others criticized the post as being disrespectful toward a respected veteran of the sport. Teixeira, who is known for his humility and sportsmanship, has not yet responded to Khamzat's jab, but those close to him suggest that he will likely take the high road. Glover, now retired, has dedicated much of his time to coaching and mentoring young fighters at his gym in Brazil, including current UFC contender Alex Pereira. His initial comments about Khamzat were reportedly not meant as an insult but as constructive criticism based on his experience in the sport. The exchange between the two has reignited discussions about whether the UFC should consider hosting a grappling or BJJ-focused event that would feature elite MMA fighters testing their skills under submission-only rules. Fans have speculated that a potential BJJ match between Khamzat and Glover, or even one of Glover's students like Pereira, could draw huge interest. Chimaev's world-class wrestling and aggressive grappling would make him a serious threat, while Glover's decades of experience and black belt-level jiu-jitsu would ensure a technical and strategic battle. While the likelihood of such a matchup remains uncertain, this latest online clash continues to highlight the fiery intensity and unpredictability that Khamzat brings to the sport. Whether in the octagon or on social media, Chimaev remains one of the most polarizing figures in MMA today, and fans are eager to see what he does next. Islam Makhachev has made it clear that he isn't at all concerned about Jack Della Madalena's recent decision to train with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Craig Jones ahead of their upcoming fight. In a recent interview, Islam addressed the news directly, dismissing the notion that JDM's work with Jones would make a significant difference in the short time before the fight. According to Makhachev, becoming truly proficient in wrestling and grappling takes years of consistent training, not just a few months of working with a specialist. He pointed to examples like Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev, saying that bringing in top-level wrestlers for a few training camps doesn't suddenly make someone elite in that area. Islam explained that wrestling and grappling ability come from years of repetition and dedication, not a crash course before a big fight. He emphasized that if someone wants to get truly good, it takes at least 2 or 3 years of focused effort, not just a few training sessions. The discussion surrounding JDM's grappling preparation has sparked debate among analysts and fans. Many, including Joe Rogan, have echoed Islam's sentiment that there simply isn't enough time to reach the level of a lifelong wrestler before a fight. Rogan and others have repeatedly stated that wrestling dominance in MMA is built through a lifetime of experience, discipline, and instinct, and that no amount of short-term drilling can replace that foundation. Dan Hooker also weighed in on the subject during an interview with Sky Sports. He explained that wrestlers in the UFC, particularly those from Dagestan like Islam, Khabib, and Chimaev, follow a very specific and effective formula. According to Hooker, their strategy revolves around landing a punch to close the distance, transitioning immediately into a takedown, and then applying relentless top control once they hit the mat. He described their approach as a suffocating style based on body locks, top pressure, wrist control, and positional dominance, all designed to wear opponents down physically and mentally. Hooker noted that this formula rarely changes because it continues to produce success at the highest level. Daniel Cormier added that JDM's best chance would be to defend takedowns early in the fight. Cormier explained that once Islam secures an early takedown, it usually sets the tone for the rest of the match, leaving opponents struggling to recover. "The only times Islam's fights appear competitive," he said, "are when opponents can stuff takedowns and force extended stand-up exchanges." He acknowledged that JDM is a slick striker and a southpaw, which makes him difficult to read, but also warned that Islam's kicking game is often underrated. His left leg, in particular, gives him range and power, allowing him to manage distance effectively even against larger fighters. Ultimately, this fight appears to come down to a classic striker versus grappler matchup. While JDM is sharpening his ground defense under Craig Jones, Islam remains confident in the years of wrestling experience that define his style. Whether JDM's new training approach can bridge that gap remains to be seen, but Islam's message is clear. No short camp can replace a lifetime on the mats. Dana White has found himself at the center of major backlash following his recent comments about money and its impact on fighters. During an interview, the UFC president stated that, "Money ruins everything," referring specifically to how large paydays have affected some of the biggest names in combat sports, such as Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Dana explained that after fighters make a significant amount of money, their motivation to compete often fades. He mentioned that he initially resisted making the Floyd Mayweather vs. Conor McGregor boxing match, believing it wasn't the right fight to make, but eventually gave in because of overwhelming fan demand. Despite acknowledging that the event was successful and entertaining, he reiterated that too much money tends to change fighters and make them lose their competitive drive. These comments did not sit well with many members of the MMA community, including current and former fighters who felt Dana's remarks were out of touch. Aljamain Sterling was one of the first to respond publicly, arguing that most fighters would gladly continue competing if it meant earning life-changing money. He stated that fighters endure pain, suffering, and sacrifice for financial security, and implying that wealth destroys motivation was both inaccurate and disrespectful. Sterling added that Dana's logic suggested he preferred fighters to stay underpaid so they would continue fighting out of necessity. He pointed out that top boxers like Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and Canelo Alvarez have all made massive fortunes yet continued competing at elite levels. Sterling further criticized Dana for what he viewed as hypocrisy, saying that the UFC president profits immensely from the fighters' hard work while justifying low fighter pay. He mocked the UFC's entry-level pay structure of 12 and 12 inches $12,000 to show and $12,000 to win, explaining that much of that money goes to coaches, gyms, and management, leaving fighters with very little. He suggested that if Dana were truly concerned about motivation, he should focus on paying fighters what they deserve instead of complaining about how money changes them. Sterling wasn't alone in his criticism. Other fighters and fans echoed his sentiments online, calling Dana's remarks tone-deaf and dismissive of the physical and emotional toll that fighters endure. Many also defended Khabib, noting that his retirement had nothing to do with money. They reminded Dana that Khabib left the sport out of respect for his late father and a promise to his mother, not because he had become rich. Critics accused Dana of using money as a scapegoat to justify underpaying athletes while executives and shareholders continued to profit. Some fans even expressed frustration with the overall direction of the company, arguing that Dana's attitude toward fighter compensation is damaging to the sport's integrity. Overall, Dana White's comments reignited an ongoing debate about fighter pay and the UFC's business model. While he believes financial success can hinder competitive drive, many fighters insist that fair pay is essential to reward their dedication and to ensure longevity in the sport. The Backlash highlights a growing disconnect between UFC leadership and the athletes who make the organization thrive. Jon Jones has officially arrived in New York, but this visit is not just for media appearances or promotional duties. According to multiple MMA outlets and confirmation from his longtime Russian training partner Rustam Khabilov, Jones is set to train alongside Islam Makhachev and Khabib Nurmagomedov for several intense sessions ahead of UFC 322. This collaboration between three of the most dominant figures in modern MMA has sparked massive excitement across the fighting world, as fans anticipate what could be one of the most legendary training gatherings in recent memory. This isn't the first time Jon Jones has connected with Dagestani fighters. Years ago, he traveled to the region to host seminars and train with young athletes, offering insight into his championship mindset and technical skills. At that time, Islam and Khabib were not yet the global superstars they have since become. Now, the situation is entirely different. Team Khabib has evolved into one of the most respected and successful fight camps in the world, and Jones's decision to train with them highlights a mutual respect among champions who have each dominated their divisions in unique ways. Rustam Khabilov, who trained with Jones for years at Jackson Wink MMA and now represents Dagestan with pride, confirmed the news in an interview with Russian media outlet Vestnik MMA. Khabilov stated that Jones's visit had been in discussion for some time and that the moment had finally arrived. He revealed that both Islam and Khabib will be personally involved in the training sessions, saying that Jones's arrival will bring together some of the best minds in the sport. The combination of Jones's dynamic striking, wrestling, and creativity with the precision and discipline of Team Khabib's grappling system makes this training camp particularly intriguing. What makes this gathering even more interesting is the long-standing connection between their coaches. Javier Mendez, head coach of Team Khabib and one of the most respected figures in MMA, has worked with several fighters who previously trained at Jackson Wink, the same gym where Jon Jones built his legendary career. This overlap of experience and philosophy could lead to valuable exchanges between both camps. Analysts have speculated that Jones may be looking to sharpen his grappling and conditioning, areas where Team Khabib's fighters are considered world-class. Fans are eagerly waiting for potential footage or photos from these training sessions, as seeing Jon Jones rolling or sparring with Islam Makhachev would be a rare moment in MMA history. The shared respect among these champions represents the highest level of skill and professionalism in the sport. Whether or not this collaboration leads to future joint camps or coaching exchanges, it's clear that Jones's visit to Team Khabib is more than symbolic. It's a powerful meeting of two dominant fighting philosophies coming together to push the boundaries of mixed martial arts. Referee Herb Dean has finally broken his silence on the ongoing eye poke controversy that has stirred intense debate throughout the MMA community. Appearing on Michael Bisping's podcast, Dean shared important insights about the internal discussions taking place between the UFC, the Athletic Commission, and officials regarding rule enforcement and upcoming changes. He explained that the rules themselves are not the real issue. The problem lies in how inconsistently they've been enforced across different events and referees. Following several high-profile incidents, including the eye poke that ended the fight between Tom Aspinall and Waldo Acosta, Dean revealed that the commission has been holding regular meetings to review and refine the regulations. He confirmed that the process is ongoing, and further adjustments are expected in the near future. Dean emphasized that these rule discussions have already had a major influence on how future fights will be officiated. The controversy has also added more anticipation to the upcoming rematch between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane, expected to take place in early 2026. Their previous matchup ended in a highly controversial fashion after an accidental eye poke halted the bout, leaving fans demanding a rematch under stricter officiating. Dean noted that the commission and referees have been evaluating different solutions to prevent similar outcomes, including harsher penalties and clearer definitions of what constitutes an eye poke. One of the main takeaways from Dean's comments was his call for stricter punishment when an eye poke occurs during an offensive move rather than a defensive one. He pointed out that most eye pokes happen defensively as fighters try to manage distance, but in cases like the Acosta incident, the foul was part of an aggressive strike. Dean revealed that he personally told referee Mark Smith that the fight should not have been restarted without a point deduction, as the foul directly affected the fight's outcome. He believes that applying immediate point deductions will force fighters to be more cautious about maintaining proper hand positioning during exchanges. Dean went on to explain that upcoming meetings will aim to clarify the fine details of the rule. Fighters are currently allowed to have their fingers extended when defending, but the new guidelines may specify stricter boundaries for when and how open hands are permitted. He added that the discussions have mostly been held over video calls, but the next phase will involve in-person meetings to finalize the rule changes. Another major point Dean highlighted was the increased use of replay technology to ensure accuracy in officiating. He mentioned that officials monitoring the replays will have greater authority to flag eye poke incidents and advise referees to issue point deductions when necessary. Dean stated that fans can expect to see more consistent enforcement moving forward, with referees being less lenient and quicker to act when fouls occur. His remarks suggest that a new era of accountability and precision is coming to MMA officiating, aimed at protecting fighters and restoring fairness after years of controversy surrounding eye poke incidents.